for the Main Event Podcast. The guys are about to go live. Get ready for the Main Event Podcast. The guys are about to go live. And the Main Event Podcast, Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Phoenix time, 11 a.m. in Chicago, noon Eastern, right? My math right? 9 a.m. in Pacific time, California, Oregon, wherever. Struggled there, getting everything set up. But I'm here. I'm surviving. A little tired today. Long day on the radio yesterday. 5 hours if you caught it. 3 hours on the blender. And then, of course, the main event afterwards. Jason Carter, the Chief, helped me produce the show last night after filling in for Randy on the blender. Yeah, it was good to have him on there. Made the time go by fast. It was exciting. So we're here. A lot of turmoil, a lot of question marks going on in the world. So let's just talk sports. Let's have some fun. Talk sports here for a few. And, let everything else go by the wayside as we go through here. So, lots going on this weekend. Of course, Pac-12 starting up. We talked a little bit about that last night. I said I'm keeping my expectations open. Don't know what to expect this weekend. I did a lot of reading this morning on the Pac-12. I'm contemplating doing either a Pac-12 podcast or at least a Sun Devil podcast, similar to my Cardinals Rewind one, starting after the game on Saturday morning. So we'll see. See what happens. See how I get motivated. I'm going to decide how many games I watch, how many games I want to watch. A Pac-12 football coming up, and we can see, if I want to do all Pac-12, if I just want to do a Sun Devil one, if I want to do a Sun Devil Wildcat one, who knows? Let's keep it open. We'll see. I'm excited, man. 10 a.m. Saturday morning. Should be good to see. Should be a good, fun weekend in terms of that. Absolutely. Let's get into this, right? Let me shrink my screens here as I do production on the fly. Should probably hire a producer. Probably be a little better. Probably be better in my life. But, of course, this weekend, talked about it on Monday. The NASCAR Championship 4 has been chosen. Did a lot of reading on it this week, predictions, et cetera, et cetera. And, Phoenix is a interesting championship race, right? Everybody races here. Of course, in March when they were here, Joey Logano won that race. Pretty much was right there in the front the whole time. Definitely didn't lead the most. Came back and won it at the end. I was sitting there with an ex-coworker there at 1580 The Fanatic. I kept telling him, watch out for Logano. He's going to sneak in this and win this thing if he keeps running like he does, and he ended up doing it. Of course, he's in the championship 4 to win it this weekend for the championship series. And it'd be exciting to see coming up here. So I've been hemming and hawing on who I want to win this thing, right? Who my prediction is going to be, who I'm going to pick. I don't know if I'm ready to announce it yet because I'm still hemming and hawing. Just kidding. I know who I'm going with. And it's going to be an exciting race in general, but obviously of the championship 4, the first one across the finish line wins the championship. So the thing I like about it is they could literally finish 20th and still win the championship as long as the other 3 are 21st or behind him, right? On there. I don't think that's going to happen because, the guys in the championship 4, Denny Hamlin kind of struggles in Phoenix, but the other guys, Brad Keselowski, a little bit of a struggle here. But these guys generally will run this fairly well. They've run it well in the past, some of them years ago, things like that. But I'm excited for this race this weekend. Should be exciting, right? Of course, we talked about Chase Elliott, won in Martinsville. That got him into the championship four because if he wouldn't have won that race, he wouldn't be in the championship four. Joey Logano, of course, got into the championship four by winning in Kansas and the first leg of the last round. So I think that was October 18th, 17th, 18th, whenever that was in Kansas. So those two got in via wins. Because Kurt Busch won the one race, I'm sorry, Kyle Busch won the one race, you know, came down to points on who gets in the rest of them, right? So Denny Hamlin, he, of course, has won 6 races in 2020. And Brad Keselowski, they clinched the 2 final spots into the championship four because they got in by points. And we talked about it on Monday. Kevin Harvick didn't get in, even though he was the most dominant driver in the regular season with 9 victories. He had that 42-point cushion entering last weekend's race in Martinsville. And he wrecked. He spun himself and Kyle Busch on the final lap while he was trying to get enough points to advance into the final four. Just an all-around bad day. They had a tire go down, everything like that. So the best driver this year in NASCAR isn't making the final four. Huge uproar. We talked about it on Monday. I still don't understand it. Regular season means nothing. You've got to perform in the playoffs. They didn't perform. They don't get to go to the championship four. It happens. What are you going to do about it? It's not the sport's fault. Right? So this weekend in Phoenix, it's on Sunday, I believe 1 p.m. Start to the race on Sunday. First time it hasn't been at Homestead Miami Speedway in a long time, 20 years, 18 years, something like that, 10 years, or 15 years, 18 years, something like that. And, of course, Phoenix is a 1 mile, tri-oval, short track to finish the race. I like it. It's going to allow these guys to open it up. Obviously, they have the packages and things, but these guys just have to go for it. There's going to be no excuses after this weekend. So here's my picks, if you guys are ready for them. Let me know your picks also. Let me know on Facebook. Comment on Facebook. Send me a tweet, SMAC500. I'll put out my pick and everything out on Twitter later on today. And let me know your guys' pick for this weekend as well. What you're looking forward to, you NASCAR fans by far. So here we go. Are we ready? I'm going to break it down for you. And end up with my pick at the end there. So we'll see here, right? So you got Brad Keselowski makes it in on the points deal. He's a teammate of Joey Logano. So 2 teammates made it in. Brad Keselowski is the only past champion in this year's Final Four. He's the only other past champion. Logano is a champion as well. So basically, the 2 teammates are previous champions. They've been through this before. They've won the championship. They know what this final race takes, albeit it's in a different racetrack than normal, than it has been in the past. So these guys have the experience. Brad Keselowski has the championship experience. Keselowski didn't have too many wins this year, but where he won were amazing, right? 3 of his 4 wins came in short tracks. Tracks with 1 mile or shorter in length. He won in Bristol. He won in New Hampshire. And he won in Richmond. All after the COVID break, by the way. So we're taking out the pre-COVID break situation with Keselowski. So he's won 3 out of the 4 races on a short track after the COVID break. So he's on a roll, right, on these short tracks. So the interesting thing is he's won on those short tracks 3 times. He's bringing the same car that he won in New Hampshire in August, and he won at Richmond in September. Why does that matter? He's going to have confidence in this car. This car won those 2 races, and it's a track very similar to Phoenix. He's going to have the excitement. He's going to have the confidence. The team's going to have the confidence to come into Phoenix with the car they've won with in these types of tracks. A little bit extra confidence for the Brad Keselowski team. One thing that does scare me about this, of course, he doesn't run well in Phoenix. Obviously, he won the 2012 Cup Series. Like I said, he was a champion, but he hasn't won it all in 22 starts at Phoenix. Never. He has finished in the top five just 6 times, going back to 2010 area. In his last 6 Phoenix starts, he's only finished in the top 10 twice. He finished 10th in March there, just this March, where the track is going to be set up basically the same as it was in March. He finished 10th. He did finish second back in 2018. Track was different back then. That's going to be set up the same as March. He finished 10th. You know, odds can change, whatever, but not looking good for Brad Keselowski coming into this race. Then you got Denny Hamlin, right? He gets the, distinguished title holder of best current NASCAR Cup Series driver to never win a championship. Never the title you want, right? To be the best at something that's never won something. And that's Denny Hamlin. Of course, Hamlin's doing the thing that all drivers do. All people that have been in a sport for a long time and never won a championship but considered one of the best to not do so. He said last year that he doesn't feel a championship would define his career. But, that's what guys that don't win championships but are really good and the best drivers of their time say when they don't win championships. Phil Mickelson said it in golf for the longest time, right? Dan Marino says a Super Bowl doesn't define my Hall of Fame career and my greatness. That's what guys that don't win championships say. And last year, they had a pit stop error. It cost him the championship last year. His engine overheated, and he lost. So, mistake last year. Can he overcome that mistake at Miami-Dade last year and have the same type of a run, be up there in the front, and be able to convert after, no mistakes happen, and he's able to convert it? He's the second most winning person in the sport, only behind Kevin Harvick. I'm getting Hamlin and Harvick confused in my brain. But I'm trying to say is Harvick didn't make the Final Four with 9 wins. Hamlin came in, he's got 7 wins on the season. So he's won this season. He's won a lot this season. He's accumulated 7 wins, 17 top 5s, 20 top 10s. He's had good runs this year, right? So can they overcome those mistakes that happened to cost him a championship last year? Very possible. He's definitely a heavy favorite. I think he's going to have a great run this weekend. He's going to be competitive till the end. Absolutely. So, last year in Phoenix was the race before. Phoenix was the race before the championship race in Miami last year. And he won it. He won the race, dominated the race. He has 2 Phoenix victories and 30 starts. But check out these stats. 13 top 5s, 17 top 10s. However, in March, track's the same as it was, going to be set up the same as it was in March. He finished 20th. So he rebounded, had a great season this year, but does that 20th place victory, or 20th placing in March with the same track, everything, hurt any of the confidence that you have in picking Denny Hamlin going into this race this weekend? Incidentally enough, like I said, I think it was a piece of tape on the grill in Homestead last year is what cost him the victory to win the championship last year that Kyle Busch ended up winning. That's how close he was last year. They always seem to have something go wrong for them to keep them out of the championship when they get close on that. It happens a lot for them. Can they get over that bad luck as they go through and into this race this weekend? I don't know, but it's going to be fun to watch, right? Absolutely. Then You got Chase Elliott, who I said, as I said, won his way into this. He wasn't going to make it, and he won Martinsville, so he gets in. Final four. Young kid, had good success on the NASCAR circuit. Hasn't gotten over that hump yet or anything. It's his first time in the Final Four. And so he's new blood. He's the new blood out there. He's the young, exciting racer. Most popular racer in NASCAR is voted on pretty much every year, if not every year. Right? He had a win last week to get into this Final Four, and he went out there and did it. He knew he had a win, and his whole team went out there and did it. They put a team together. That's exciting to see that the pressure was on and they didn't crumble. They actually stepped up and did what they needed to do to go on. That's exciting to see. I like it. I like it a lot. So he's never won in Phoenix. Young guy's never won here. He's got 2 top 5s, 5 top 10s. He's won a lot of laps. He's led a lot of laps. 249 laps led in his 9 starts here. Mediocre at best, right? So here's the issue. I mean, in March, I guess I should tell you, in March, he finished 7th. Same track setup as I've said. He finished 7th in March. He's had a did not finish crash. He's finished 14th, 23rd as we go back in the deals here. So does he have enough momentum? Did the team learn enough to just, buckle down and do what they need to do in Martinsville to get into this? Do they have enough to pull out a win this weekend in Phoenix? Here's the quote from Chase Elliott this week. Quote, I just think we need to focus on ourselves this week and really think about what we struggled with there the first race this year, what we might need to do better, put our best guess on that, and go run the race. Doesn't give you a lot of confidence I don't think I'm getting a lot of confidence from what they're saying. I don't think you got enough confidence looking at the history of his Phoenix racing and this team. But where I do get confidence on Chase Elliott is what they did in Martinsville. Nobody expected him to win that race. They knew they had to win it to move on. They buckled down. They did what was possible, made no mistakes that cost them. Got there, won the race in the Final Four. I love that part of it. You're coming in with momentum and some confidence for Chase Elliott. Then you got Joey Logano. As I said, teammate to Brad Keselowski. He won this race in March. Can you win at this race twice in a year? That's debatable. I've seen people debating that over the last few days. The issue, though, that you got is there was also a big layoff, right? March, everything shut down. I can't even remember. They went to California, I think, and raced, and then they were shut down after that, after they left Phoenix, I believe. Trying to remember all the way back to March in 2020, right? But Logano's been in the championship for. He's obviously won it one time. But here's the thing. And ever since they went to this playoff format back in 2014, Logano's made the final round in every even year since. He's in the Final Four a lot. Of course, the Final Four races were at Miami, Homestead. And last year, I'm sorry, 2 years ago, 2018, what year were we in? 2018, he won the championship. And he went at a runner-up performance in 2016. So his last 2 times in the championship, granted at another course, at another track, he won. Last time he was in it 2 years ago. And 2 years before that, in 2016, he finished second. He won here in March. He just tugged along in March. Didn't hold. I'm not going to just say that he held back, but he wasn't the leader most of the time. He just sat back there and he struck when he needed to strike to win that race. I was looking at his interviews earlier, seeing if there was anything in there talking about what he learned from the track, everything. I didn't get to them all because I was looking for some info because I was in the media room and got his interviews videoed from when he won it in March. And He's got confidence on this track. He likes this track. It's enough to get him the win. But in his last 7 Phoenix races since winning here, since he won here in 2016, so the last 7 races, Logano has 3 top 10 finishes, but all 3 of those came in the last 3 times he raced here. So he's on a positive trend in Phoenix. The last 3 races, he's got top 10 finishes. Of course, before that, he had 2 did not finishes due to crashes. And then he finished 12th in 2017 and 19th in spring of 2018. But he's been on a trend the last 3 race times he's raced here. Top 10s and then a victory. Right? Obviously, they won in Kansas, so they have an advantage. And they say, quote, Logano said, quote, the past 2 weeks, the advantage we learned was to be able to focus on our Phoenix car before everybody. That's the advantage we had. So by winning Kansas in the opening weekend of the last round, they knew they were in the championship for. So they've been working on a Phoenix race. They've been looking forward to Phoenix while everybody else was focusing on winning and racing the last 2 races to get into this. They were preparing for Phoenix the last 2 races. Huge advantage. Logano said, quote, we get to go to these races not having our tongues hanging out, trying to get in. Our batteries are charged up and we're ready to go, unquote. Of course, if Logano wins this weekend, it'll be a second championship in a 3-year span. He's right there, guys. He could be a dominant force in this sport. Right? You have the 48. Johnson retiring this year after this race. Gone from the sport. He was dominant years ago. Kyle Busch has had dominant stretches. Last year specifically, as he goes. This year, not so much. Obviously, they've been on a positive trend going forward. I think the advantage that they had of not, having to worry about Martinsville and the races after Kansas when they won that is a huge advantage. They've been able to relax a little bit, focus on a game plan. He won here in March. We ready for the pick? Can you guys guess who I'm going to pick? Chase Elliott? Denny Hamlin? Joey Logano? Brad Keselowski. I'm going to tell you who I think is going to win, and I'm going to tell you who I'm going to be watching and who I'm most excited to watch in this. My pick to win the 2020 NASCAR Championship here at Phoenix Raceway, Joey Logano. He's just on fire. He's on fire at this track. They look good. Even these last 2 weeks with not focusing on it, they had decent runs. Now, here's the thing on it. He's not going to lead these laps. I don't think he's going to be in front a lot of the day. He's going to hang back a little bit. He's going to strike when the iron's hot. He's going to not push it too far. The track strategy is going to be sound. Not just if they can get through it. Here's the other guy that I wouldn't be shocked if he wins it. Kind of rooting for him a little bit. Would like to see it happen, even if it means my pick's not right. But that pick, Chase Elliott. I think Chase Elliott's going to run this really well. His team's ready to go. That momentum from Martinsville. Winning at Martinsville is not easy. They went in there, they had to win, and they won it. I think that momentum is going to help them out in this race. They have confidence. Even if bad things happen here, they're going to be able to rebound from it and work their way through it. Chase Elliott's the guy I'm going to be watching in this race more than anything. I'm going to be excited to watch him race. I'm excited for Sunday night. Or Sunday afternoon, I guess, right? So those are my picks for NASCAR. Let me know who you guys pick. Of course, comment on the Facebook feed. And or, reach out. SMAC 500 at the Main Event Podcast. Like I said, I'll be putting the picks up here later on today here after we get done with this. And I do all my work before I go in to fill on the blender again today and everything. So, I mean, just an exciting weekend for motorsports if you're into that. And even if you're not, Sunday's game get a little boring, flip over to NBC and watch the championship round. Watch some of the race there. Get excited about it. See what's happening. At a minimum, tune in toward the end of it. See, obviously, pit strategy is going to be involved in this by far. You got to watch the pit strategy stuff because that's what's going to come down to. Like I said, last year it cost Denny Hamlin the race. They messed up in the pits, overheated the engine, and he lost. Right? So, back at the beginning of the playoffs, we pick champions, right? Here's the interesting thing. I just did a huge dichotomy that I normally don't do, right? If you go all the way back to, and I'll comment this on the post, go all the way back to the beginning of the playoffs, I have Denny Hamlin winning the championship, but I'm not picking him here. My final four, let me get this loaded up here. I had Harvick making the final four. Of course, he did not. He's the 9-time winner this year that didn't make it. I had Joey Logano making the final four. And I had Truex Jr. making the final four. Of course, they both just got eliminated last round. So I got 2 out of the 4 right. But I just gave you the reasons why I think Logano's going to win over Hamlin in this race. When I went and made these picks back in September, I made these picks because I thought Hamlin might have learned from the mistakes of last year. And they're running good. Just Logano's running so well right now. So, back in September 6th, I picked Hamlin to win the championship. I've had 2 out of the 4 in there. Of course, I switched to Logano. Say what you want about me. Be kind. Be kind with me in my comments here. But I think Logano's going to win this weekend now that we've seen everything break out in the playoffs. I think Chase Elliott's the guy to watch. And if Hamlin wins, I'm still going to claim he won just because I picked him back in September. And I have receipts to prove it. So, it's so great. It's so great doing this. Yeah, so that's NASCAR this weekend. Of course, you have the Xfinity race this weekend and the Truck Series Friday night. Exciting times going on in NASCAR right now. So, it is what it is. If you're into motorsports, now's the time to be watching.
About to go live.
What that was. All right, man. I'm excited for it. I can't wait for this weekend. I don't have too much going on. And they're here in Phoenix. So unless I get the bugaboo to go and buy tickets to get in, which I'm not going to buy on the secondary market or anything. That's ridiculous. Watch it at home. Unless something falls in my lap. And we'll see. So, let's get into some fun stuff. College football. Well, actually, let's do this first. Let's get this out of the way. Because I know every time I talk NBA, I get comments about, oh, we're talking NBA. I talked about it last night. It kind of broke last night. The NBA is having, they're deciding between December 22nd start date, and they're deciding with January, I think it's 18th start date, which one they want to do. And the vote by members of the Players Union will show how many prefer a 72-game season that starts on December 22nd or a season of perhaps 58 or 60 games that starts in January. And I was reading last night, I have the hiccups, excuse me. I was reading last night that they were saying that the players are favoring December 22nd now, whereas before they were not doing that. Among the issues on this is revenue. I told you guys that before, right? The NBA is going to lose a lot of revenue if they don't start on December 22nd. $500 million will come in if they start on December 22nd. The league's primary television partners want December 22nd to be the start date because of the Christmas Day broadcast. They want those Christmas Day games. A lot of money from the NBA on those games for television partners. As we talked about on the radio show last night, some players have stated that starting in December is too soon for the teams that went all the way to the finals, the Lakers and the Heat. But then, like I said, the January start would mean less revenue. On the backside of a season where the league missed revenue projections by $1.5 billion, and of course, bunch of games, 14% roughly of the regular season wasn't played because of the pandemic. So players lost roughly the same percentage of their salaries. So players lost 14% of their salaries last year from games not being played. This all comes down to money. And that's probably why the players are favoring the December 22nd start date now, is because they realize they were told how much money is being lost. Because, I mean, normally it's an 82-game schedule. Already now they're talking about a 72-game schedule. So that's 10 games they're going to lose in pay. If they wait till January for a 58, 60-game season, they're losing even more revenue from those games not played. That's a lot of money to let go by. And I think what you'll find is big name guys like LeBron and them, even if they voted to wait till January, you're going to see a lot of these younger guys, the guys that are getting drafted here in a couple of weeks, that have been sitting around since March, not playing basketball in terms of an organized professional setting or a college setting. The draft is on November 18th. Free agency is expected to start right after that. Training camp, if it starts December 22nd, it's going to start around December 1st. There are 8 teams that have not played since the league shut down on March 11th. 22 went to the bubble for the restart in July, but just 4, that's the Lakers, Heat, Boston, and Denver, because they all went to the championship series, Eastern and Western Championship Series. We're still playing as late as mid-September. Everybody else was done in beginning of September at the latest, except for 4 teams. So just a revenue thing on the NBA. I just wanted to bring that up again, that players are coming around, that they're losing a lot of money with these decisions they're making. So you're seeing a lot of players speak up, a lot of players favoring the start again at the beginning to keep the revenue going. I mean, they're not stupid. When it comes to pocketbook stuff, they're not stupid, right? Nobody's stupid when it comes to pocketbook stuff in terms of making it. Play more games, more money. Sit out and go longer, less money. There's a whole faction of teams out there that haven't played since August. It's going to be one of those things where you're going to see a lot of the teams from the 8 players want to get playing. The teams that were eliminated in August want to get playing. It'd be basically 4 months off for the teams that finished in August. So the 4 that went to the end, the Lakers, the Heat, I said those guys, Boston, and Denver, because they went all to the conference championships, they're going to have less of a break, but also a lot less votes compared to the other guys. So just an interesting narrative. I just wanted to bring that up again, see what's brought up on that. Let's get into college football. Big games this weekend. Me and Miguel emailed Miguel the picks. So me and him are going to go head-to-head in a college football over the next, 6 weeks or so. See who can come out on top. We don't have stakes on it, I don't think. We haven't put betting things on it. Maybe we'll do a steak dinner or something. Who knows? Let's do it. I'm gonna say what he's gonna owe me when I beat him. Hopefully his picks are better than his NFL picks. That's all I'm saying. So last night, the MAC started last night. Games all over the place last night. I was watching it while I was on the radio show. But one thing that happened, how 2020 is this? I hate that phrase, by the way. But I just sang it because it's funny. Central Michigan Stadium, the whole campus, lost power in the first half last night's game. Right? This was the game that I had on in the stadium, and I was like, "This is weird." They went to halftime early. Like, did I miss the last like 2 minutes? Of course, they were in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, Central Michigan's campus, and they had to go to halftime early because during the game, which of course was airing on ESPN, had 1 minute 17 seconds left in the second quarter. Ohio was facing 3rd and 6 on Central Michigan's 10-yard line when power was cut. Central Michigan was leading 20-13 when the lights went out. Of course, broadcast everything went out. Referees sent both teams to their locker rooms. Power was eventually restored after approximately 20 minutes. The power was off across the campus, so it wasn't just the stadium. So what they decided to do, so the 2020 thing, right? Middle of a game, power goes out. Hey, go to your locker room. Basically, they just moved halftime up. So then when they resumed after that break, which is basically halftime, Ohio got the ball back, and they started over again. Team started with 1:17 remaining in the second quarter. But what makes this odd is, after the second quarter, they went right into the third quarter. No halftime, because they just had an early halftime. I just like the way it was handled. That's all I wanted to bring up on that. It's weird. Power went out. They just went to the locker rooms, came back out, started back up 1:17, second quarter, right into the third quarter. Central Michigan did go on to win 30-27 last night. I get the hiccups. I don't know why I have the hiccups all of a sudden. So good for Central Michigan. The MAC took off. A lot of teams won last night. So they're getting ready and getting roaring. Intern on the Facebook says, "Wow, shots fired on the All Access crew." Well, you guys are picking horrible in the NFL picks. I'm afraid to even tell you guys what you're picking. I'm afraid to do the totals because it's so bad. But if you guys want me to, I'll do it. I'll start posting them. I'm going to post them all. I'll have them all up by tomorrow. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch. So, we got Pac-12 problems. Louisville is postponing the Virginia game this weekend because 15 people test positive. I said last night on the radio show, it broke. Utah's Kyle Whittingham signed a 4-year contract extension through 2027 for Utah football. That obviously affects the Pac-12. What else is going to affect? I talked about this. Well, the Pac-12 has a razor-thin margin. You're already seeing it in the Big Ten. They had a razor-thin margin, and they started 2 weeks earlier than the Pac-12. And Wisconsin's missing their second game this weekend against Purdue because of COVID. Pac-12 is raring up to start this weekend right out of the bat. California's football opener against Washington in jeopardy after somebody tested positive for coronavirus. This also affects ASU into next weekend because Cal comes to Tempe and plays ASU next weekend. This, of course, is a Saturday night game. So basically, a positive virus test happened in Cal on Wednesday, and it caused what Coach Justin Wilcox said is a, quote, significant, unquote, number of players needing contact tracing. So right off the bat, Pac-12, no room for error. They can't miss one game, to get through this. And right off the bat, we have an issue. Wilcox, of course, Cal's coach, did say if it's feasible for us to play, we are going to play the game. Are there hurdles? There are hurdles, yes. With the players in question, the game is in jeopardy. If we have the bodies available to play the game, we will play the game. Several people are being held out, and that's a legitimate threat to the game, unquote. That tells you starters are in trouble. Big name starters for Cal. We're in contact with whoever got this. So they're trying to clear that. This is all of an hour ago, so it's still a big question mark. Wednesday's practice for Cal was limited, and some team drills were not doable based on the number of players held out. They won't announce how many players were held out, though. But obviously it's most, which tells you Somebody who's on the field a lot got it. We tested positive for it. Now they have everybody they're doing, right? They say that the player that was positive with the test is asymptomatic. First positive test on Cal's football team since practices began last month. So they'll know at some point today. Later on today, they still practiced. They're ready for the game plan, but this puts the opening weekend in jeopardy with no room to error. Whatever. I'm just so infuriated by the Pac-12 by waiting so long to leave no room for error and for things like this to dominate. Just I don't like it. It's just dumb. Just dumb. So I sent the pics to Mikel. I'm all stuffy for some reason all of a sudden out of nowhere. I need to change my filters in the office here, in the studio or something, because wow. Hits me hard here. The air gets going. The games we have this weekend, I'll have it posted when I get his picks. We have Michigan and Indiana. Interesting matchup this weekend. Michigan just lost to Michigan State. Can they rebound against an Indiana team that actually has been surprising this year? Of course, they beat Penn State. They beat Rutgers last week, starting 2-0. Can they go in there? Can they stay home and beat Michigan this weekend? This is a tough game to pick for me. I definitely don't believe in Indiana. Penn State's 0-2. Of course, they played, after they lost to Indiana, they played Ohio State. You don't know how good or bad Penn State is right now either. Michigan, bad loss to Michigan State last week. Are they going to be good or not? I'm going with Michigan this weekend, though. We'll get it posted, like I said, when I get his picks. Works in the way on his college picks, so we'll wait on that. We got Florida versus Georgia this weekend. Two highly ranked SEC teams matching up. Of course, Michigan, by the way, is 23. Indiana's number 13 in the country. So another ranked one there. Let me get... Florida is ranked 8th, I believe. Yep, 8th, and Georgia is 5th. Georgia has receiver problems. Quarterback has nobody to throw to. Florida had that big brawl with Missouri last weekend. Big old brawl right for halftime. Their head coach is weird. This game is a neutral site game. It is in Jacksonville, Florida this weekend. I don't know if there's fans or not. I have no idea. I didn't look that up. This one's kind of a tough one to pick. Intern says, post them. I'm not afraid. Oh, they're going to be posted. We'll see. We'll see your NFL picks. So Florida, Georgia this weekend. I'm going to go with favorite Georgia in this one. This is a toss-up for me. Either team can win this game. But since I have to pick one, I'm going to go with Georgia this weekend. I think they'll have just enough to edge Florida. I wouldn't be shocked if Florida does win this, but I am going to go with Georgia. You got the University of Arizona at Utah this weekend. It's funny, man. I see... I've read, because I'm doing the research on this. Like I said, I'm keeping an open mind this weekend in terms of the Pac-12, because I don't know what's coming our way. So many question marks going into the season. And it's funny, man. I've seen some people pick Arizona to beat Utah this weekend, surprise them on offense. SB Nation says Wildcats will upset Utes in the season opener. I mean, this guy also picked him to beat Colorado and ASU on the road. I'm sorry, at the home at the end of the season. And this guy's crazy. Because Utah isn't going to be as good as last year. But U of A is just a mess. Sumlin. They had a bunch of people transfer. Their one coach is running his mouth against ASU, losing recruits. It's a joke. Take Utah. Utah is favored by 14. Take Utah in this game. Might even want to take the points. Utah does have a brand new quarterback starting. this year. So there's question marks on that Utah offense. Their defense, though, is still going to be strong. They have a lot of players returning on defense. Arizona's going to be okay on offense, but that Utah defense is still going to be strong. I think that's going to be the difference. And like I said, they're working in their new quarterback there in Utah. So I think Utah's going to beat. I'm sorry. I think, Utah's going to beat Arizona. And for you bettors out there, probably should take the 14 points if it's available to you. Should be that big of a game. The next one we have on this list, Clemson at Notre Dame. Right? A week ago, I would have had Clemson in this in a blowout. Beating Notre Dame, it would have been a 14, 20-point victory for Clemson. Just not sold on Notre Dame. They have offense problems. They have defense problems. Clemson's without Trevor Lawrence this weekend again. They struggled in that first half against BC last week, but that wasn't on the quarterback. That was on the defense. Played like garbage. So, did the defense learn anything last week? And are they going to come out now and play better against obviously a highly ranked Notre Dame team? Other people have faith in them. I said last night on the radio show, I have a conspiracy theory going in my mind. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't see anybody else talking about it. So I'm probably just making it up in my head. But it's for those of you that know me, know it's possible. But I can see a scenario in the ACC where Notre Dame wins this game. They're ranked number 4 in the country. They beat number 1 Clemson this weekend without Trevor Lawrence. So they take the favorite. Notre Dame wins out the rest of the ACC. Clemson wins out the rest of the ACC. They face each other in the ACC championship game, where it'll be, like number 3 Notre Dame will face like number 4 Clemson, right? Clemson wins that game. Both teams go to the playoffs. My conspiracy theory, I called it last night on the radio show. I'm saying it again today here on this podcast. I can see that totally happening. This game, I don't know who to pick to win, right? With Trevor Lawrence out, does Clemson have enough to beat Notre Dame in this situation? I don't know. Notre Dame struggled against BC. Clemson struggled against BC for a half with that defense. Not only is Clemson without Trevor Lawrence this weekend, they're also got 2 key defensive players out this weekend. Right? The cards are going against Clemson, but is Notre Dame good enough to take over and do that?
5G just got real.
I don't know why I'm playing an ad there. So they're going to be without linebacker James Skalski. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence. And then they're going to be without defensive tackle Tyler Davis and linebacker Mike Jones Jr. Sweeney said that they're just not ready to get back in there. They've been injured. Missed a few games now. And because of that, Clemson trailed Boston College 28-10 at halftime last Saturday. They gave up 13 first downs, 209 total yards in the first half. Of course, they came back and won 34-28. They shut Boston College out in the second half. On that deal. All right, is Notre Dame good enough, offensively to go stay at home and still beat a very talented, Notre Dame game? I'm sorry, Clemson team. As they go through it, right? The game, of course, is on Saturday. 5:30 p.m. Eastern time here at Phoenix time. 5:30 p.m. Phoenix time, 7:30 Eastern. Of course, 6:30 in the Chicago area, 7:30 there because they're not too far from Notre Dame. Of course, it's 7-0 Clemson, 6-0 Notre Dame. One reason why Clemson will win is, Notre Dame does have one of the best pass defenses out there. It hasn't played anyone, though, on defense that passes the ball a lot. The Clemson offense does throw the ball, though. Though the stats can be misleading, right? The quarterback, I think he's a freshman, DJ Uigalelele. I have no idea how to say his name. We'll just call him DJ. The quarterback that took over for Trevor Lawrence last weekend. He went 30 for 41 last week, 342 yards and 2 scores. That doesn't include his rushing. He had like 30 yards rushing. Actually, check that. 25 yards rushing and a touchdown. He came back. He was 30. He came back and brought him back to win that game. They have a great running game there with Travis Etienne. Clemson's used to these big type games. Notre Dame is not necessarily. I just don't think Notre Dame's beaten anyone. They beat Duke. Not a good team. They beat South Florida. Not a good team. They beat Florida State. Not a good team. They beat Louisville. Not a good team. And they beat Georgia Tech. Not a good team. They're all going to probably finish with losing records. Here's the other side of it is, like I said, can Notre Dame beat a very injured Clemson team? And obviously without there, I just don't know. I just don't think so. So, is this going to be one of those, statement games for Notre Dame because they're playing at home? Or is this going to be a Clemson rising to the occasion like they always do? I mean, there's history here where Clemson plays bad against a bad team and then dominates against the good team, right? For instance, what did the Tigers do after they survived a huge scare against Syracuse back in 2018? They came back and they beat Wake Forest by 60. Notre Dame's a good team. They're not flashy at all. They actually will put you to sleep if you watch it. So am I discounting them because they're not flashy and they're just go get them nonsense? I just look at their opponents. They haven't played anybody. And they haven't been dominant either in those games for the most part. Whereas Clemson's dominated. Obviously, they struggled against Syracuse a couple weeks ago and then BC with Trevor Lawrence out. So like I said, this is just round one. Whoever wins this game, they're going to face each other again, most likely at the end of the season. My conspiracy theory is still in my mind where I think Notre Dame will win this one. So they can get 2 teams in the ACC into the playoffs. Because if Notre Dame loses this one and then loses again, they're out of the playoffs. And you won't get 2 teams in. My conspiracy theory is in the back of my head. Tell me I'm crazy, guys. Do I let my conspiracy theory take over? Or do I just think Clemson's that good even with that to go? I'm going Clemson in this game here. Just Notre Dame's played nobody. And I think Clemson's going to win this 10 points, 14 points over Notre Dame. Go on that. So Mikel showed up on the Facebook live feed. Sees all of interns' comments about what I'm saying on here. Mikel says, coming in late today. Steve, were you slamming the All Access crew? I'll find out when the podcast is posted. And Mikel says to pick Notre Dame. He picks Notre Dame. I'm putting that as your official pick, by the way, Mikel. So Notre Dame is what Mikel's going to go with. Of course, I think Clemson's going to pull this one out. No, Notre Dame hasn't played anybody. There's just so many factors here. I just went through all my thought processes in picking this game. And I'm just settling on Clemson. I'm going with what we know. Clemson's a damn good team, even with all these injuries, all these backups. And Notre Dame, we don't know who they are yet. They haven't played anybody good. We'll find out this weekend, that's for sure. And intern and McKell are having a war right now, and on how they're gonna beat. They called me an expert, by the way, but no, I just know how to pick. I'm not an expert. I just know how to pick things right. Unlike the All Access crew right now. The worst part is, let's double down on this. The worst part of this is the All Access crew is making this show look bad with how bad they're picking. They're obviously not listening to what I have to say and my knowledge of the sports and everything because they're picking horribly. So they're just making me look bad. The All Access crew is letting me down. That's for you guys there. You're welcome, y'all. Last game I have for college this weekend, ASU at USC. Same issue, right? You don't know. SC's always got talent. Whole new coaching staff, but you still have Helton as your head coach. Guy's got awful as a head coach. Can't coach his way out of a paper bag. Really good quarterbacks on both of these teams. ASU has a lot of question marks. Offensive line, defensive line, a lot of defensive starters. I don't know. USC's heavily favored in this game by 11. I can't wrap my head around that. I don't see that. But I don't see that not because of the question marks at ASU. I don't see that because I'm not sold on Helton being a good head coach. He's going to do something to screw this up. It worries me that it's a 9 a.m. start time in California, 10 a.m. here in Phoenix. That's early for anybody. It worries me a little bit. Might take a little while for ASU to wake up. You know what? I'm going to homer this game because I don't know. Everybody's telling me how good SC is going to be this year. I don't know. How do you know that? You have Helton as your head coach. They've always had talent. Even back in the days before Pete Carroll got there and they were barely doing 500 at 6-6, they had a ton of talent. I mean, you can't trust the head coach. I'll take Herm Edwards every day of the week and his coaching staff over Clay Helton and whoever else he has. ASU has a new offensive coordinator, a new offensive system coming in. Is that going to be affected? We don't know. So I'm just going to homer it this game. We'll know more after this weekend, and I'll be more serious about this pick. I just can't wrap my head around the fact that everybody thinks SC is going to be as great as they're saying they're going to be this year. I just can't wrap my head around this. I just can't. I'm not expecting them to be that great. We'll find out this weekend. But I'm going ASU. Let's go Devils. So, the game's on Fox on Saturday. Winner of this team is going to win the Pac-12 South title, right? I think. But I mean, like, college football news, USC 37, ASU 30. He even starts off his article by saying, quote, is SC really that good? It's got the experience, it has the offensive scheme, and it has the hype. He says the USC offense will come up with late first half burst. Arizona State will push back in the second half. And just when it gets close, Slovis, who's the USC quarterback, will come up with a good scoring drive to stay ahead. Both teams will look strong, but SC will show that it is just that dangerous, unquote. He has them winning 37-30 SC. That's my point. He's expecting it to be a close game as it goes through. He's just assuming Clay Helton's going to pull some offensive genius out of his hat that he's never shown before and win this game and get his team to win the game. Right? But it could be the opposite for ASU also and everything, I guess. I'm assuming, right? These are guys that follow these guys, right? Sporting News. USC 34, ASU 28. Bill Bender writes, quote, it's the Pac-12 opener for both teams and an excellent quarterback battle between Jaden Daniels and Caden Slovis. The early start adds to the intrigue. I mean, that's throwing me off. I already said that. A 9 a.m. start time in California. One of these teams or both of these teams could show up sleepwalking. You don't know. If this was a Saturday night game, might bring some more clarity to my thinking here. I'm factoring in an early start. He goes on to say the teams have split the past 2 meetings by a combined total of 8 points. These are very close games the last couple years. Bleacher Report. So everybody's expecting a close game, but they're just giving the odds edge to USC so far. Bleacher Report. USC 31, ASU 27. Kerry Miller writes, quote, when Pac-12 teams were first allowed back onto AP ballots back in late September, SC debuted at 29th place. In all 5 polls since then, the Trojans have steadily inched their way up to number 20. And with help from the Big 12 self-destruction, will now open their season with the tangible college football playoff aspirations. That means absolutely nothing about this game. You notice how Bleacher Report doesn't even talk about what's going to happen on the field? This is my favorite line from them. And Arizona State went 3-1 against ranked teams in 2019. They play well against ranked teams. Caden Slovis should be able to outduel Jaden Daniels, is what they say. But don't be surprised if things get weird for this 9 a.m. Pacific time kickoff. We're all on the same page. It's just people are picking SC. Why? Because of the hype? Because it's SC? That's why I'm going to ASU. It can go the same. Everything they're saying, you can reverse it. And these are professional people. Covers.com says ASU will cover against SC. Yeah, but it's an 11-point spread, right? I mean, ASU has a new running back. Obviously, Benjamin went pro. Everything. San Jose Mercury News. A USC will win a close, entertaining game. John Wilner says that the two Clay Helton versus Herm Edwards duels that produced riveting theater, with ASU winning by 3 and 18, and the Trojans responding with a 5-point victory last year. In both instances, the road team won. In both instances, the losing team was without its number 1 quarterback. The Pac-12 needs a close, entertaining game for the big noon audience, and we expect just that. Exactly. We're all on the same page. It's just they're pulling the trigger for SC for some reason. Hype. It's SC. And I pulled it for ASU. Mikhail also says ASU also. So he's got Notre Dame. I have Clemson. He's got ASU on this one as well. So I just wanted to give you guys some background. This game is confusing. We'll know more after this weekend. Win or lose, either one of these teams, win or lose, we'll know more about this team this weekend. And we'll be able to have a better assess it. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited. I'm going to get up Saturday morning like it's Christmas. Like I'm 12 and it's Christmas. Where's my bike? Give me my bike. So those are our 5 pick-em that me and Mikhail are going to go head-to-head this week for. College, we're going to pick the rest of the college season out. Other than that, I mean, there's other games this weekend. If you're in it, Cincinnati, who we talk about, Power 5 Conference, number 6 against Houston. We want to keep following Cincinnati there. Penn State at 0-2 should win this weekend against Maryland. Get on the winning road this weekend. Oklahoma State, who lost last week. Big 12's playing Kansas State. Hopefully they get back on that deal. Big 12 needs them to win out at this point. They're not getting in the playoffs now. They're so bad, I don't think. But Ohio State has Rutgers this weekend. Unless Greg Schiano can pull off some miracle. Ohio State's going 3-0. Oregon plays Stanford. Oregon's a team to watch in the Pac-12. They're favored to win the North. That game's at 5:30 p.m. on Saturday night. Just interesting to watch. I mean, Oregon should win this game by a lot. But just interesting how Oregon plays. They had a lot of players that decided to sit out the season. They have a lot of talent up there. Something to keep an eye on. And like I said, Washington Cal, keep an eye on that. That's an 8:30 p.m. kickoff if it happens. And we'll see. Cal comes to Tempe next weekend if they're able to put this game in and get over their COVID run there that they have. So I'm going to want to pay attention to that game for the deals we go into Cal also as we go forward, right? So that is our college football breakdown for this weekend. I'm excited. Like I said, little 12-year-old boy going down for Christmas. So let's get into it. NFL time. Let's get into some NFL news. We talked a lot of news last night on the NFL on the radio show. It's official. Packers, 49ers are going to play tonight. There was some question mark. Thursday Night Football, of course. And there was some question mark on if they're going to play or not due to the 49ers COVID. I don't even know. Forget about COVID. Are the Niners going to be able to field enough players to, field a team? They're just a walking mash unit. It's not even close. So I'm expecting Packers to win big tonight. It's not even going to be a fun game to watch because the Niners are just so banged up. I mean, they're out. Somebody was saying that of their 7 players that touched the ball in terms of offense, I think in the Super Bowl last year that are still on the team, none of them are playing tonight. Dolphins placed running back Myles Gaskin, best running back they got, on injured reserve. Of course, they're coming into the Cardinals this weekend. Did the picks last night. We'll get the All Access Cruise picks in here and talk about those here in a second. So some news there. We'll get more news as the day goes on. Of course, I'm going to do the Cardinals Rewind, preview the Dolphins game, and record that, if not today, then definitely tomorrow morning. Waiting for injury reports to come out. Of course, we know Kennard and Murphy are out this weekend. I want to see what happens in the Dolphins practice, which is probably going on now. I'll get that recorded, get that posted up tomorrow at the latest for everybody. So I appreciate everybody that pays attention to that. Absolutely. So let me pull up good radio here. Good radio. I didn't pull it up before. I'm going to pull up the games that we picked for last night for the pros. Of course, we had Bears, Titans, Ravens, Colts, Seahawks, Bills, Saints at Buccaneers, Dolphins at Cardinals. Let me see here. So we have Miguel's picks. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm all stuffy, guys. Jeez, let me take a quick drink here. We got Bears at Titans. Miguel has the Titans. He's got the Colts over the Ravens. Wow, nice pick on that one. Seahawks. He's got the Buccaneers and the Cardinals winning this weekend. So very similar to most everybody has there. Solid picks. I like it. And then let me pull up intern here really quick. She's got a solid reason for picking the Titans this weekend. I won't tell you guys, but she's got a solid reason for that. She's got the Baltimore Ravens. She's got the Seahawks. She's got the Buccaneers and the Cardinals. So a lot of similar picks this week. Well, here's the good news, All Access crew. We're either all going down in flames or all looking good. So this weekend, we're going to be one or the other because we all have very similar picks. All picks except I think we all have the same picks, actually. Because I have the Titans, Ravens, Seahawks, Buccaneers, and Cardinals. So Miguel has the Colts over the Ravens. So one of us will miss it. That's right, guys. All Access crew, keep picking like I do, and you'll be all right. You'll be all right. I'm picking fights with the All Access crew now. so stupid. Other games this weekend that I'm intrigued by. The New York Giants and the Washington football team. Of course, me and Chief, we talked about it off air last night. I brought it up during the main event. He asked me earlier, and I said, I'm picking the Washington team, man. I think Jeffrey told him to go Giants in that one. I don't trust Daniel Jones. He's a turnover machine. Washington plays hard. They're 2-5. Giants are 1-7. Giants like to turn the ball over. Daniel Jones does. Offensive weapons are bad. Defense isn't very great. And Washington can sneak up on you with their quarterback, Kyle Allen. I got Washington winning that game. Lions, Vikings. Matt Stafford he didn't have COVID. It came out last night, and he was put on the COVID list. He didn't have it. He was in close contact with somebody that got it. So he's got to go through the protocols, but he's on the list. So he could play Sunday. If he plays Sunday, the Lions should win this game. You got to shut down Dalvin Cook, though. Galladay's out for the Lions. You got to shut down Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook, there's no way Dalvin Cook can do what he did last week in a game. That was breaking records last week. It's hard to come back and do that. I think I'll pick the Lions on this. I'm going to wait to do my official pick on the 1580 fan pick'em, Gridiron pick'em, Harmon Solar, Gridiron pick'em, just because I want to see the status of Matthew Stafford, obviously. But right now with Stafford in there, I think I'm going to go with Lions in this game. Stafford's out. I'm going Vikings. I just don't think the Vikings can produce what they did last week. Panthers, Chiefs. Chiefs are winning this game, right? Panthers will compete in this game, though. They'll compete. McCaffrey might be back this weekend. Is there an official word on that? Let me take a look here. Nothing on it yet. McCaffrey might be back for this game. If he goes back, they're going to compete, but they're still going to lose. But they're going to compete in this game. You have the 1-6 teams battling each other. Texans and the Jaguars. I think Texans will win this one and pull this one out. Minshew's not playing. The rookie, I don't remember his name right now. Rookie for the Jaguars is playing. Texans will win this game. They have enough talent to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, minus Minshew. I might pick Jaguars if Minshew was playing and healthy, but he's not. So let's go Texans. Seahawks at Bill. Oh, we picked that on our deal. Broncos at Falcons. Broncos are playing hard. They have COVID issues this week that have disrupts practice. We've seen several teams that have been disrupted in practice struggle the week that they get disrupted in practice. So is that the case for the Broncos here against the Falcons? Falcons have a defensive end that's tweeting things out about wanting to be traded and calling the team names. Obviously, Raheem Morris is the interim coach there. I'm going to go Broncos in this one. You got Raiders and Chargers. I love Justin Herbert. Raiders are good. They had that bad week against the Buccaneers after that COVID diagnosis. They looked good last week. Herbert's doing great things in Charger land. The difference here, I think, I'm going to go with the Raiders this weekend. Steelers at Cowboys. Don't even know why we're talking about this. If the Steelers don't win this game, they beat themselves. Cowboys aren't stepping up. Cooper Rush could start. Another guy could start. Who knows who can start? Steelers. If the Steelers don't win this game, it's because the Steelers decide to give the Cowboys the game. There's zero reason. You can't come up with a scenario where the Steelers lose this game. Even guys like Walt Disney can't come up with a way the Cowboys win this game unless it's the Steelers literally handing him the ball to do it. Patriots, Jets. Pick them. Patriots should win this game. Jets just don't produce anything on offense. Jeffrey's almost got me sold on the conspiracy theory that Bill Belichick's going to lose to the Jets this weekend so he can get close to that number one pick. Because check this out, right? He's totally got me on this. We'll know Monday night, and I don't take it seriously. But if the Jets somehow win this game against the Patriots, I'm gonna be fully on board on that conspiracy theory. Because check this out: Patriots are 2-5, Jets are 0-8. So if the Patriots lose to the Jets twice and then they both lose the rest of their games, Patriots would get, assuming the other teams win, but the Patriots would get the number one pick on a tiebreaker. Put your tinfoil hats on, folks. If the Jets somehow win this game, I'm going to be 1,000% on board with this conspiracy theory. 1,000%. But I think the Patriots pull this one out. Pretty easily. So, Intern on Facebook says all X true. Always looks good. We're just bringing you along with us this time. And then Mikkel says, you tell him, intern. It appears we took down his partner, Adam. He doesn't want to show his face anymore. I hope he's feeling better. All access crew chased away Adam. Guys can't scare me off. I'm here trying to flex, but it's not working. Good times. Good times. So, football this weekend. Exciting weekend. College football, I'm super stoked about. NASCAR this weekend, championship weekend. I'm excited about that. See what happens as we go forward and move on. So you guys can, of course, reach me on my personal pages at SMAC, SMAC 500. Definitely give me a follow. Some funny things occasionally. At the Main Event Pods, where we do the show notes, all the articles I used and looked at today will be posted today. Other things get posted at the Main Event Pods. So definitely give that a follow for some articles that we talked about, thought-provoking sports stuff, things I use as references to make the show. It's called the show notes. Check that out as well. We also do announcements. Toying with playing around with start dates. We'll keep the Monday at 1 o'clock. I know it's been early the last couple of weeks because I've been filling on the blender. That might be ending here soon. So I'll move it back to the 1 o'clock. And then we might move the Thursday, to Friday so we can preview a little bit more on the weekend, get some more information before we make our picks. Well, we'll see. I got to sit down and decide on some stuff. Of course, the Wednesday night show. So definitely pay attention at the Main Event Pod as we go. Of course, thanks to Gestalt production company, does racing videos, other types of videos, produces the Cardinals Rewind I do as well. Thanks for them for putting everything on. So subscribe to the YouTube page at Gestalt Production. Support the racing videos that they do and everything, so we can obviously keep the podcast and radio show going as we move on into the end of this year and into next year. Appreciate everybody listening. And, of course, Gestalt Production does have a Twitter page, by the way, also, just so everybody knows, and a Facebook page. Just want to follow that. But anyhow, we will see you all. Everybody have a great weekend. I will be on the blender today and tomorrow, I do believe. I haven't been told otherwise. And after that, who knows? But we will be back. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the NASCAR. We'll see y'all next time.